Hi, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk and for unboxings.com, and here I have the HTC Touch2, eagerly awaited handset from HTC, and one of the first to have Windows Mobile 6.5, or to officially have Windows Mobile 6.5, I suppose we should say. I guess there's been some sort of fairly bootleg Windows Mobile 6.5 ROMs doing the rounds for a while. So let's just have a look inside. Obviously it's a fairly small box, quite a neat design. Not going overboard with packaging, which is it's quite good to see. So handset is immediately on top, and just remove through the front like so. It's quite small. We'll have a look at that in a bit more detail in just a moment. In terms of what else we have in the box, first of all, sorry, we have a Welcome to HTC booklet here, which is basically a quick start guide. It's a fairly thin, lightweight, I guess, quick start manual, and it covers sort of the basics of making a call, using your handset, unlocking. So that's all you need to read to get going, basically. There's the HTC Care document, which is basically your warranty. There's addendum to the manual, one sheet. It's a warranty statement, which is in a variety of languages. Does anybody read those? Don't think so. There's an accessories guide, and there's a few details about Copilot Live and a 15-day trial, and a synchronization certificate there. So then, in terms of bits and pieces we have in the bottom, we have a bag with apparently no opening, so tear it open. Okay, inside we have a standard USB to standard mini USB style connector for the sync and charge. We have well, I'll bother to open this. Is a 3-pin UK plug, and again the standard HTC wall charger that 3-pin plug connects to. It is a USB style charger. That's a fairly standard HTC item. Then in another bag we have a wired headset. We have the foam earphone covers and a clip, so you can clip it onto your shirt or jacket. And then we have the headset itself. This is a 4-pole 3.5mm jack. So that's good to see that we can use standard headphones with this handset. There's an inline microphone with a push button. There's no volume control though. And then there's the headphones themselves. Now they are sort of in-ear style. They are quite lightweight and kind of plastic feeling. But that said, you can use your own headphones. These are just obviously the headset that comes with the handset. So it's good to see that we can use our own. So let's look at the handset itself. Let me just peel off the protective layer. As you can see, quite small and reasonably thin handset. Kind of similar to the original Touch, which just bring next to it there. It's a little longer than the original, but it's a little narrower. About the same thickness. I suppose on par to the Touch 3G, which is there. Again, similar size and similar thickness. There are obviously some design similarities there on the outside. So first and foremost, we have a 2.8-inch touchscreen display, which is Quarter VGA. You'll notice that underneath the screen there is the zoom bar, which has been included on some other HTC handsets recently. Then there's the button area below, so we have our phone keys for answering and hanging up our calls. There's a home button, a Windows button and a back button. The hang up button does double up as a power button as well. On the left hand side then we have an up down volume control rocker, which is this button area here. It's fairly indescript, it does blend in quite well. And then under this cover we have a micro SD card socket, which does, according to spec, support up to 32 gig micro SD. That's pretty cool. On the bottom then we have the USB or extended mini USB sync charge cable, and there's also a little hole above that which is actually the microphone. There's actually nothing to speak of, or nothing at all really, on the right hand side, aside from the space for the stylus, and we notice that we have this fairly small stylus, which is a fixed length, Nicely weighted though, and it is metal rather than plastic, or it has obviously plastic parts, but it's nicely weighted. On the back we have a 3.2 megapixel camera, which is actually fixed focus rather than autofocus. You'll notice there isn't a flash, and there isn't a mirror for taking self-portraits. There is this kind of shiny area around the camera there, but it isn't completely reflective, so you couldn't really use that for taking self-portraits should you wish to do so. Next to that there is a grill for the loudspeaker. On the top we have 3.5mm headphone jack, so we can plug in our headphones or headset. Back cover peels off like so, and that reveals the battery. And if I just pop this piece of plastic out of the battery, that allows the battery to plug in properly. This is space for our SIM card. Pop the battery back in, and as I said, it is easier to open the cover over the micro SD once the back cover is removed, because there's a little tab on there that does prevent you from opening it. So there we go, back cover pops back on like so, and we'll just power up. So while we're waiting for that to come on, let's just run down the rest of the spec. As I mentioned, it is Windows Mobile 6.5 Professional. There is a 528 MHz Qualcomm processor. We've got 256 meg of RAM and 512 meg of ROM. Quad band for GSM, GPRS and Edge, and dual band for HSDPA. Does support HSDPA, 3G, as well as Edge, GPRS and GSM data. It's telling me I don't have a SIM card installed, which is actually a slightly new screen here, and it's actually animated, telling me that I need to insert the SIM card, or I can make an emergency call, so we'll just skip out there. And it's going to tell me about using the on-screen keyboard. We'll skip that. Asking me to select a Wi-Fi network. I'm not going to bother to do that. And also talking to me about Google location, which I'm going to agree to. Telling me about synchronization now, and I'm going to kind of skip out of this as much as possible. And it's launching TouchFlow. It does have built-in GPS, which is again very cool, and use that for the Google location and that sort of thing. The battery is an 1100 mAh battery, which according to spec will last up to 370 hours standby and up to 370 minutes of talk time. So if we just pop back in here, we have a nice implementation of TouchFlow, and looks kind of familiar. Nice coloured icons along the bottom. If we just take the tabs very quickly in order, and this is considered our sort of like home screen, where we have obviously the time and the date, and any calendar items would appear here. Then we have our people page, where we can have our favourite people as speed dials, and we can add more. We can just scroll this up and down to add contacts. I'm going to skip that for now. We then have our messages tab, which would allow us to compose SMS messages. We then have our email. I don't have obviously any email accounts configured here, but they would be listed. We then have internet, again very similar to other HTC devices here, where we have the browser and YouTube. Photos, we have a photo tab so that we can actually preview photos that we have on screen, or we can actually launch the camera, which does just launch the camera application. I'll just take a quick photo there. Fairly straightforward. Camera doesn't look too bad. It is only 3 megapixels, as I said, 3.2 megapixels, as I said already. It doesn't look too terrible, but HTC aren't exactly renowned for the quality of the cameras that they put on their phones, unfortunately. Something that they say they're going to address. And then we have music and media. That's there too. We then have weather, which obviously I haven't configured my internet connection and haven't got a SIM card, so it's not going to update. We can have weather for a number of locations listed here. We have Taipei, Barcelona, London. You can add or remove these and configure these how you want. We then have map search straight on one of the tabs here. We have a settings menu for, you can go into sync data, change the sounds, wallpaper, mail setup and so on. And then we have a tab at the end for programs, where again we can customise what appears on each of these tiles. If we go into start menu, you'll notice a difference here if you haven't seen Windows Mobile 6.5 before, but everything is on an individual tile. You can then scroll through this. The idea is to make it much more easy to use your fingers rather than a stylus to touch the screen, making the user experience a lot easier and yeah, stopping you having to resort to using the stylus. We'll talk about the OS in a lot more detail when it comes to do the full review though, and obviously James has already spoken about Windows Mobile 6.5 in a bit more detail on the site already. But that's the HTC Touch 2 in a nutshell. As I say, we'll have the full review on tracymac.co.uk over the next couple of weeks, and also if you're a fan of our unboxing videos, please check out the others that we have on unboxings.com.